Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Carling Currie Cup. This one an intriguing contest. It is the last round before we get into the playoffs. In the Western Province, they cannot actually make their way into the top four for the rest of the competition. But there is intrigue because in this regard, you've got a Boland side who, if they can win this game, book themselves a spot very close to the top of the table. At least a home semi, if not maybe maybe a home final, depending on how the draw does end up going. But this is the way that the Currie Cup round started. We have seen a game since then. We saw that the Pumas were defeated by the Sharks, so that didn't really affect anything when it comes to that top four. But the Griquas currently at the top of the bunch. They will be playing later on tonight or this morning, depending on where you are in the world. But looking through at, first of all, the Western Province lineup, you will see quite a few familiar faces in this side. This is also being used as a bit of a URC warm-up game for the Stormers, but in the front row, Matongo alongside JJ Kutsia, and then also in the number 3 jersey, there's once again Portin Schikkeling alongside Van Heeren as the locking duo. Dion Foree back in the number 6 jersey. That man has had his fair share of injury troubles throughout the last almost 24 months or so. So hopefully we'll be all right for this matchup. Marcel Tennyson in that number 7 jersey with Evan Roos starting in as that number 8. Stephen Nkura alongside Duplessis, I should say, as that number 10. Roach in the midfield alongside Ruan Nell. And then out in the back 3, Lelion Zas, Sinatla, and then also Luke Berger as the number 15. Looking through at the lineup for Boland. They have probably got the most similar lineup in terms of what they had for the first week of the Carling Currie Cup compared to now. Of course, a lot of these other sides have had players brought in because of the pre-season of the URC, but Losper, Tobias, and Vinner Vesthuizen, he will slot in as the number 3. Benardi and Williams in that locking duo. And then on the loose forward trio, Aronsa, Sangweni, and also Marsh as that number 8. September alongside Mostert in that 19 combination. Ale in the midfield alongside David Britz. And then Xavier Mitchell, Donovan Don, and also it will be Smith as that number 15. We have got there... and today is Wallace Satiti's birthday. Well, there you wait. So as in today is in the 7th of September or as in yesterday was? Do let me know and have a great show, Hamish. And once again, congrats to the ABs. Thanks for having us on the show. That was from Vic about 10 minutes ago, and it is greatly appreciated, of course, for Vic and Vern popping on. That live stream was hectic. Definitely at the end of it when we decided to have 5 guests in total. Well, I guess 4 guests and myself on the channel. It did get hectic, but it was thoroughly enjoyable throughout that one. This is not the real Currie Cup. They should call it the Mandela Cup or something. Well, that's the thing. This is the only round where we are seeing all of the big dogs back for these certain sides. And I think that also comes down to the fact that no matter what happens in this game, certain sides are through to the Carling Currie Cup for next season. Particularly when you look through at someone like a Western Province. They've really struggled with what they've been able to do this year. But they're still there next year. Whereas someone like a Boland, they could win the whole thing and still have to go through that qualification stage to be able to book themselves a spot in next year's Carling Currie Cup competition. But we do see there, Western Province, they look fired up for this game. And the thing is, they have got some massive returns that could massively have a big influence on where Boland actually finish in the overall standings. I'll show it once again, the way that the table sits at this very point in time. The Cheetahs, they are going head-to-head up against the Bulls later on. So theoretically, if the Western Province were to win this game, not only would it be their first win of the season, but it would mean that Boland can drop right down to theoretically 4th in the overall standings and not have a home or a home semi or a home final just around the corner. But I don't think that Boland at the moment would care because they have been playing some incredible rugby throughout the season. They have become everyone's second side, Everyone wants to see Boland do well. And I feel like in this scenario, it's really no different. People would love to see what they can do. Dion Foree, great to see that man out there. Once again, like I said, fair share of injuries. It's the graveyard in our town. And the loss this morning really hurts there, Sakabola. Yeah, that was once again, bit of a strange game, to be honest. And I know that a lot of people will be hurting from it. But it was just not quite the performance that people were expecting. Definitely for the Eden Park Test match. Like I mentioned about it in my post-match review, how, the occasion of this match may be I don't know, maybe it got to some of those younger players. Just that little bit. We have got there the trough after the hype. And also we have got there, so did you say you would give yourself a buzz cut if South Africa win both games in New Zealand? Because you knew there was a good chance that wouldn't happen, says Not Mum. Oh, well, I thought if I said that if they went 1-1, people would be like, why aren't you backing them to go 2-0? So, I don't know. If I'm really feeling adventurous, I might make it that even if they win in Wellington, we still go the buzz, but I really don't think it's a good idea. I think I can feel that my hairline's gone even further back since that last time that I mentioned it. So, we might have to play it safe. Hi, everyone. Says Lilia Bear. Welcome in. You're doing extremely well. These are the benches, ladies and gentlemen. Kobus Eloff there for the Western Province. He is off the bench rather than starting. That is the big thing about these players coming back for the Western Province. It means that a lot of the guys who, I was going to say, who have got them to where they are today, but the thing is they're dead last in the Currie Cup competition. Sounds brutal, but it's true. They can't go any lower from where they are here. So we'll have to wait and see whether or not they can go a little bit further up, get themselves a win and their first of the Carling Currie Cup. Off the bench for Boland, they have still got those same options, Schroeder, Lambrecht and Bantam as that number 23. We have got there, hi Lilia, and hey Lilia, says Sakabulla and Jimbo and Hamish. I'll still keep our beautiful hair, says Blues Nate. Well, that's the thing, I was going to end up getting a haircut anyway on, actually, what day are we on today? We're Sunday now, aren't we, here in New Zealand? I was going to get a haircut on Friday, New Zealand time. But then, unfortunately, just ran out of time because of all the editing and getting prepped for the weekend. So it meant that I had no option but to just go with whatever it looked like at the time. I was also going to have a shave, but then that didn't work out because I was quite busy and ran out of time. So that's kind of summarised this week, but still plenty more coming up in the near future. I have to work out exactly when I do my normal videos this week. I feel like it's going to be hectic as well. The day after New Zealand put us out of the World Cup, I was like a day of mourning here. Says Jimbo. Well, that's the thing. The Eden Park, the more I go on about it, it's not going to help at all in terms of the mood. I was going to say, you know, the more you think about how it is Eden Park, you know, it was a substantial game. And sadly, you know, just like sometimes can happen, we didn't see the Springboks show up. And the All Blacks, they didn't show up the week prior in their game up against Argentina, or 2 weeks before that. And then the South Africans, they didn't show up for their first game or after the first 20 minutes up against Australia. So it was just the fact that, you know, I would say that New Zealand, you know, they will be happy enough. I suggest they make a Currie Cup A and B section together with more games, says Southern Renegade there. It could be something that they look at in the future. I know that at the moment it's a bit tricky because it seems like the coaches still want to play some of their URC guys. Do I stay up to see England annihilate Australia? It's a great question. I would say if the Scotland versus Canada game is anything to go by, that game could actually be a little bit closer than some thought. I haven't actually seen an update of that. I know it was 1912 the last I saw it. Have a quick look while they are both running out onto the field. And Yahoo Nas says a Blues Nate there. And also woohoo. Oh, 31-12. That changed a lot. 2 tries in a row for the Canadians. That game's no longer as close. We have got there, read an article just now describing the Boks as being the architects of their own demise. Agree. I think that it's very easy at the moment to say this as well because the game is over and South Africa did end up getting defeated. But I don't think there was many people at all who looked at that South African side on paper and went, this is our best side. Whereas in a game like Eden Park, you have to play your best team. Whether or not you feel like there is a bit of depth in that side and whether there's maybe a couple guys who you'd love to give an opportunity to, like this was the chance for South Africa to really do something extremely special in terms of a New Zealand record broken. But, you know, Willie le Roux, lack of minutes as of late. You've got someone in that kind of back three that people weren't a huge amount of confidence behind, someone like a Kanan Moody. You know, you play not even a replacement hooker off the bench, but a replacement prop who plays hooker. And then also the 5-3, whereas one thing that the Boks are absolutely known for is their physicality. Whereas Arge's name and Fassi, exactly right. They were the 2 first names that as soon as I saw that side, I wondered where they were. And I think they could have made a big difference. No point blaming casting after the loss. The ABs played better. Yeah, the handling was off for South Africa in that game, but once again, I don't think you guys want to hear about it for the next couple of hours. We've got a Currie Cup game that hopefully will be able to lighten the mood and bring a bit of excitement, but it will be Boland, the story of the Currie Cup, the side that have just, I don't even know how to describe their run. They've been impeccable with the exception of the one loss, Evening Hamish and all. Any big games this weekend, as in from here, or as in from the ones that we've already seen? Because if you're talking about from here, England versus Australia, it's taken place in about 3 hours 15. My voice just tried to give up on me. But yeah, 3 hours 15, England versus Australia to work out who finishes top of their group in the Rugby World Cup. And then alongside that, tomorrow there's New Zealand versus Ireland, top of the table clash as well. And then the game after that is South Africa versus France, which is actually top of the table. So the Women's World Cup, they have all the top games at the moment in terms of 1 versus 2 in every single group. The All Blacks were great, made less mistakes on the wet field. So here's Southern Renegade. I used to support Western Province, but now I'm supporting Boland, the Comeback Kings, except last week. So here's I Lollipop. And I was joking, I have no idea when I'm getting any sleep before Tuesday. Yeah, it's a bit of a broken week, isn't it? And I'm a little bit the same. I was going to be doing the NPC game, but it sounds really bad to say. But the reason I was going to be doing the NPC game is a bit of a secret. Oh, in fact, this game has started 1 minute in, so I should quickly update the scoreboard, shouldn't I? I forgot that that's my job on these ones. I've been enjoying when the scoreboard's been doing itself. So that's something. And now nicely claimed by the Western Province, Evan Rus. And he dragged down by Sung Weni, a man who would have loved to be in that Springbok environment for the Rugby Championship. An early penalty goes the way of Boland here. And score prediction for this game, I think that the Western Province, this is a great chance for them to get themselves their first win. But at the same time, you know, the thing is, when you look at the Bunnings NPC, we saw Waikato up against Southland, and Waikato added in all of the players for the All Blacks who hadn't been playing minutes. And that actually hurt them a little bit. I feel like they were a much more gelled unit when they didn't have those guys popping in and out. Something that the Sharks have got criticism for in the URC in terms of those guys popping in and out of their side. So I would say that Boland will have the chemistry, but Western Province probably have the pure X factor for being able to win this game. But then there is no game I don't think that Boland come in as favourites. You know, they will just keep on working away and eventually prove everyone wrong. Currently in the hands for Boland. Nice inside pass. And about 40 metres out from the line, Smith gets his first touch. Playing fullback for this game. Now a little bit of breakdown work. Ngale. Oh, bit of a juggle there, and it is actually going to get called as a knock-on. Comes the scrum for the Western Province. Aim a shot on the 70k. Well-deserved and worked for champion, says Nars Williams. Do appreciate it. And yeah, it's been a hectic, I would almost say year. You know, Super Rugby and the URC, we were covering a lot of games each weekend. And now we've got the Rugby Championship, which is actually supposed to be the more breezy kind of maybe time of the year, whereas we've got a Women's World Cup alongside it. So then that gets even more hectic, and November's just around the corner. But nah, it's going well. Almost Christmas. So tell me, Hamish, what did you think of this morning's match? I didn't think New Zealand were that good. 2 tries were given on a silver platter to New Zealand. Says Mornay. Yeah, I don't think either side were at their best. New Zealand did take their chances better than South Africa, and sadly, the Boks just left it too late. You know, scoring 2 tries in the last 20 minutes, but taking 63 to get that first try, I think was their own worst nightmare in that game. Like, at Eden Park, you want to be scoring early. You want to get a bit of a lead going, and you want to put pressure on this All Black side. But I feel like other than the scrums, New Zealand weren't really threatened by South Africa's ball running throughout that game. 2 TVs going. Samoan ladies currently educating USA ladies and how much they love smash and bro tackles. What is the score in that one? Have they managed to score themselves a try, Samoa? I know that there's actually quite big implications for the group. How theoretically USA can actually make it through to the next stage, but they would have to absolutely slaughter Samoa and then have England absolutely batter the Australians. Now, Evan Ruiz passes off to the left-hand side. A lot of space here opening up for Jean-Luc Duplessis. Down for the grubber in behind. Chased by Lelion Zas, who just can't quite change the angle in time. But it's kicked infield rather than towards the touchline. That is a very interesting choice from Boland, which keeps the Western Province on attack. 4 minutes in. And off to the left-hand side again. Ball on the inside from Jean-Luc Dupré, or Jean-Luc Duplessis, I should say. And Evan Ruiz knocks it on. I don't think he was expecting that pass to go there. And USA 10-0. Okay, so how many minutes in? That's right. Probably only like, I would say 7 or something like that. What time would that game have started? Was it 12:45 as well or 12:30? All knock on. Unfortunately there for Sanatla, just a little bit too far out in front of him. Do you think South Africa can bounce back in Wellington? It's not doom and gloom for South Africa. I think they'll bounce back. And I think we're in for another game within 20 minutes. Or sorry, within, you can see what comment I read, within 7 points. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they can turn it around and, get those selections right. Because I do think we're going to see a few changes for Rassi. But his problem now is he can't go too crazy with the changes, or else then it might be more of the same. New Zealand, I don't see them changing much. Maybe just the injury replacements. Taukei'aho goes into the starting side. I think he liked the loose forward trio. In fact, like Simon Parker, I would love to see his stats, because I hardly saw the bloke throughout the whole game. But when I did, it was normally in the breakdown, or at least making those important tackles. So it wouldn't surprise me if he was right up there in terms of some of the stats. Now going off to the left-hand side for Boland. September passes on the outside. This is a bit of space for Xavier Mitchell to be able to move forward. Same anyway, Wildcard is very happy. Nothing is written in stone. Yeah, big win for the Aussies too. It does build towards that Bledisloe Cup as being potentially the decider for the Rugby Championship. Of course, next week we could see both sides that won this weekend lose. So then, you're back to an even playing field. The one who knows who's going to win the next week is a fortune teller. No one knows. Says Southern Renegade. Parker was in there for real. Oh, you got that gangster talk, Nars Williams. But yeah, I'll definitely have to watch a replay. I feel like watching it for the commentary, that live stream was absolutely hectic. At one point, there were about 13,000 people, and the chat was going at 1,000 miles an hour. It's like when I tried to update something on the screen, and I came back and I saw in my little bar, it had comments 130 something. And it had been like 20 seconds. So, beautiful Salah the dummy there, finding the gap. This is a massive chance here of the run of Juan Mostert. Mostert, I should say. Another man who was missing from that South African team. I don't think the Boks were too far back. They had a shot at equalising try. True. And the thing is, like, if they had held a couple more passes, I honestly, this is bold to say, but it's currently 1 a.m. in New Zealand, so I feel like not too many people will hear it. But, all it would have taken was 1 or 2 passes to go to hand for South Africa, and they could have won that game. And it would have been close, just like we saw, but just 1 or 2 passes ending up being held rather than being dropped. Thoughtbox simply got the first 40 incorrect. Bad prep, our thought. I got back into the second 40 power game, got them going. Says Studs Race. And also, that first 40 minutes, I've been a little bit harsh on Rieko Ioane this week. But then we saw in the match, he didn't go up for any high balls. He didn't want to. So all they had to do was target that wing. But, that Rieko Ioane one moment that he had was holding up Oxen's share. And I think he touched the ball about once other than that throughout the game. But that was one of the most crucial moments of the whole contest. Rico's hold up is all that was in it. Says Jimbo. Scrum reset here for the two sides. Damien Valimza should play at fullback. Hopefully South Africa and Argentina can bounce back. Then the Rugby Championship would be wide open again. Yeah, I think that both sides have the ability to do so. I wouldn't rule out Argentina from the second game because they'll be frustrated they lost by a thin margin in the first. And we actually saw up against the Kiwis that they found a way to be able to improve in the second. But, yeah, I don't think South Africa are a mile away from, beating the All Blacks. It's just always the case. When those sides play 50-50 going into the match, and that is pretty much how it stays throughout every moment of those games. Now getting ready to feed this ball in again here for Boland. They have got the attacking chance. Sangweni with the short ball off to Ngale. Now pick and go. It's going to be Thurlow Marsh, I believe. Does try and get that one moving. Now only a couple metres out from the try line. that can go from Sydney to Bias. Someone is going to do a YouTube short. Are you saying that? Says Fleshin. Probably. Someone should do a YouTube short of the hecticness that was when I added Tony and Mark into the call for the live stream with Vic and Vern. There was just about 3 voices all going at once. Oh, ball on the outside. Beautifully done by Donovan. Don shovels it on, but it's forward. So it won't be the try for Xavier Mitchell, but it was pretty close to being just that. Feels good though, the ABs. Says Nars Williams. Well, that's the thing. I heard of a lot of people in New Zealand putting money on South Africa for the sake of if New Zealand were to lose, they at least make money back. Like, there were people who said they put 1,000 on South Africa. And some of them, of course, were joking, but others I don't think were. And it's that big question of how much does that streak at Eden Park, what type of price would you be willing to put on that? And a lot of people were putting pretty high prices in that regard. So, the TAB would have had a good weekend, I would think. Now ready to throw this one in. They'll only be 5 metres out from the line. Tony was hilarious, says Jimbo. I didn't think that the two different... I should have known with the fact that both, of course, just coming off a hectic test match at Eden Park would have been a bit fired up. But, I thought we were going to have not so much a debate, but more so just a back and forth. This is your turn, Vic and Vern. This is your turn, Tony and Mark. But instead, we just got everyone barking for the first, 1 minute. You can see how much I panicked. Because definitely Tony just chucked in the F-bomb straight away. So I was like, oh no. Now I got to apologise to 3,000 people for the bad language. They're risking being deported too, says Lilia B there. Hello, Tony. You never know what to expect. Even when you think you know. Curveball. You go... your PG today, Tony? He goes, absolutely. And then he joins and he goes, what the f... And then just drops the F-bomb straight off the bat. So I think it's almost reverse psychology. One day I'll tell him he's allowed to swear as much as he wants and see what happens. That might be the stream that ends the channel. And Bok didn't bring their potato salad to the braai today, says Ruth. And also Vic and Vern sympathy. Yeah, we chatted a little bit after the live stream finished and they were gutted. At the end of the day, they would have loved to see the Boks win, but they were also optimistic about the second match. And that's all you want. Tony was always going to go off like an angry Jack Russell. Says Fleshin. I think he would have been worse if the All Blacks lost, though. I think that would have been the one that really kind of fired him up. 11,000 people, says Jimbo. Yeah, it was crazy. I'm not sure of the comparison with the World Cup. And I know that the World Cup in general, I think, had more views. Because of after the World Cup, that was when it kind of generated a lot. But in terms of concurrent viewers, that's going to be close to the channel's record. But I have no idea what the channel's record is. Which shows how much I pay attention to analytics and whatnot. Which is probably something I should do. But Western Province, it's not straight. In fact, closing the gap there from the Western Province. That means that once again, Boland will have themselves another free kick. 4 and 5, so both men in the locking duo are actually closing it. JD Schickling and Ruben van Heeren. Eden Park, 11,000. Says Ruth there. Now, going back across. Nice little step in there from Mostert as he's tackled by his opposite number, Jean-Luc Duplessis. There is a knock on. So we're going to have another scrum. Referee didn't look like he enjoyed calling that one. I think he wants a bit more of a free-flowing game between these two sides. One moment. I'm going to have a Google. Well, not a Google, but I will have a look at some statistics while we have got a stoppage here. If I go like this, maybe... Oh, I spelt New Zealand wrong. That's pretty bad, isn't it? Didn't get the A in there. I meant to, but it didn't quite happen. What do we got? How do I find out? Right. New Zealand versus South Africa in the World Cup final. Can I see concurrent viewers? I would think I can, can't I? Maybe? How do I do that? I actually don't know how YouTube works, but the scrum just about to take place. I'm still scrolling through now. Boland going off to the left-hand side. Oh, that one looked a little bit high. Now, nice attack and run forward from the youngster Smith. Now, September offload. It's forward. So they will go back. again. And that time it is for the scrum. I thought you'd be streaming Canada-Scotland. I was considering it, but then I also thought that it might be a bit one-sided. Okay, peak concurrent viewers on that World Cup one was 16,200. So this would definitely have to be the second biggest stream that we've had in terms of people watching throughout one point in time. We have there, that would have been classic, especially if the ref had have messed up with the winning score. Says Fleshin. Proud to be a Kiwi, says Nars Williams, but now kicking it into the corner again for Boland. Only sitting 15 minutes into this game. It is low scoring. Boland slowly building into this contest. Western Province want their first win of the Carling Currie Cup. It's not going to be easy though. Feel like Boland are the type of team that just won't give up. Kickable goals not taken. 3 so far for Boland in this game. Ready to throw this one in. It will be Sydney Tobias with the number 24 on his back. That's going to be overthrown. Awkward bouncing. Oh, that's a tackle in the air. No, in fact, I've said it as the man jumping into it. I actually like that. I know that there was a while where they would give penalties no matter what when someone was in the air and someone did tackle them, but sometimes there is circumstantial evidence that says maybe it's not. Ugh. I think his knee got cut open there for JJ Kutsia. Yeah, you see him jumping into it, so it makes it difficult for a referee, but I do think that's the right choice. If a guy does put himself at risk by leaping in an aerial direction towards the opposition, like, you're never going to land nicely. They're showing here the live standings. Boland would be in second in the overall standings, but that Griquas versus Lions game, it is going to be extremely important for the two sides in terms of who finishes where in the semi-final. And Kutsia, bloody knee, says Roof. And the score is 40 points to 19 with a decent showing. Yeah, Scotland actually impressed me for the bit of that game that I ended up watching. I saw it when it was 19-12. You had over 8,000 watching. Mad mate, says Nars Williams. Yeah, and I feel like it's not until you look at it afterwards. Because, of course, during those streams, there is also a game happening. So then I kind of try and focus mainly on that. And then you see the chat. But it's only really after when you realize how many people 8,000 is. Like, that's more than the whole region that I live in. By quite a bit. That's almost double, you know. And Canada, there we go, just set Scotland packing. Although Scotland are still through to the next stage, aren't they? They will still have themselves an opportunity next week, more than likely up against, I want to say it's the winner of England-Australia. So it's not going to be easy. Now kicked high by Boland, currently 16 minutes through in a game that is still 0-0. Now Arnse, at number 8 jersey. Or 6, in fact, for this game. Now Mostert slings it away to the side. Looks like they're going to use this backline again here. Ball on the outside. Donovan Non goes now into the hands of the Electric. That looked close to Ford as well, to be fair. But one more pass. September, 1 metre. Oh, he's blown that opportunity. Got a little bit greedy. And now Boland are still trying to find a way over the line. They might be just over. I know Dion Fourie told to release it. Sydney Tobias. This is inches from the line, and I have no idea how Boland aren't going to score here. Still 1 metre short. Master Ballman, yeah, that should have just been a simple draw and pass. But instead, a little bit of greediness led to them still trying to fight for that extra metre or two. So they have to make sure that they score now here. Or else Western Province, you know, they will be more than happy with it. Just short Sungweni. Another pick and go this time. That is getting close. Oh, he reaches out and scores it. That is very nicely done. From, I believe it would have been Dayan van der Vesterhazen, who ended up scoring. And Canada look great. They look hungry every game, says Big Rig. USA up 27-0 against Samoa. They need a cricket score if they want to go to this quarterfinals. That must be around half time. As I know that someone said earlier on, it was 20 minutes in that they were 14-0 or whatever it was, 10-0 in the game. But yeah, they will need a good 75 points, at least, maybe even more, to have half a shot of being able to qualify. Lona Ma, She-Hulk, says a Blues Nate, and 34 minutes in, says Big Rig. Yeah, so we'll have to keep a close eye on that points differential heading forward. Scots went okay in the first half against Canada, but couldn't score. Canada defence is sound. Yeah, it's going to be a test. You know, more than likely up against the, I would say, Australians in that next game. That kick has just missed away to the side. I see that Yuri Matia is already on the field. I wonder who that is actually for. Jean-Luc Duplessis, actually, the man by the sounds of it, who has made his way off September. Is that a name of the player? Quite ironic if so. It is. I would like to know when his birthday is. But then it's his last name. Cheswell September. If his birthday's in September, it is what it is. Cheswell, what's his name? Cheswell September, isn't it? Oh, Christwell. My bad. Christwell September. When is the bloke born? 30th of June. Missed the opportunity. Wait a minute. September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Ooh, that's 9 months. Say no more. Of course, last name, but, you know, relevant in that case. Evan Ruiz now with the ball in hand for the Western Province, who are down 5-0 at this point in time. It's going to be an advantage for offside. Now loop it around. Yuri Matia looking for the risky offload. They will go back for the penalty. Not too far off, mate. Says Nars Williams. So September may have been the month that he was made rather than the month he was born. Update score, I think. Hang on. Come on. Why is it? There we go. I thought I had my mouse in the right spot, but it didn't like me. Quarter of the way through this game already. It's been going very quick, as both of these games today will. And I feel like the games tomorrow are a little bit the same. And also, Hamish I all says Wild Lobster. Welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. Kick is heading towards the touchline. It does go out. Yuri Matia now. Big role to play after the early injury of Jean-Luc Duplessis. If USA don't get enough points differential in their game, they'll have to hope that England will win their game by a huge amount. Yeah, pretty much. That's the way that, like, approaching that game for the USA, like I said, they need at least 70 points, if not more, just to slightly be competitive. They pretty much have to win up against the Samoans by the same margin or better than what Australia did, which was 73-0. And then from there, on top of that, they have to hope that the Australians lose by a bigger margin than the USA did up against the English. So there's quite a bit that has to go right, but it's not completely out of the question at the moment. They need both, says Big Rig. And it was here for the loss, says Wild. And it was a wild loss. You know, I thought that game, 7 points for some reason felt a bit too separated between the sides. But to be fair, had there been that last minute try, it would have been a draw. Now Yuri Matia trying to put in the little chip in behind. That's going to be knocked on by Ruan Nel. But again, another penalty going against Boland. That's one thing throughout the season that maybe has been critiqued the most for this Boland side, and that is just the ill discipline at times. Currently 5-5 for the penalty count. And tight fast smashing that keyboard. Come on, Western Province. Says Blues Nate. And they need like 140 points between their win and loss. Says Big Rig. Yeah, so if they were to win 75-0, that probably, ironically, still wouldn't be enough in that scenario. They would have to try and up it to that next level just that little bit more. Go for about 80 or 90-0 up against the Samoans, which honestly is possible because Samoa's defence does get worse as the match goes on. And you Big Joe. And tight fast smashing that keyboard coming the Western Province. Says Blues Nate, but the ball is thrown in now by the Province, sitting 10 metres out from the line. That rolling ball has been sacked illegally by Boland, so it will be another penalty advantage in favour of Western Province. Nice skip pass there, trying to shovel the ball on. And it has worked out. Yuri Matia, oh, that's a bad pass. It's about the fourth forward pass we have seen in this game. Does English ladies just secure the win and chill in the second half? I don't know. It depends on who they'd rather have making their way through. Like, I don't think it phases them, though, because the chance of them actually playing anyone who they've already faced is pretty slim. But I think for England, you just avoid injuries. You know, like, you don't want to go into this game and take a big risk and end up with someone getting injured that you don't want, such as a Kildun or, you know, even in terms of some of those big forwards in the 9-10 combo with Helena Rowland in that, she's 10, isn't she? I think, maybe. And then also in that midfield, Meg Jones, she did all right last game, got herself 2 tries up against these Samoans. And come on, Boland, says Jaden. Yeah, at the moment, leading 5-0 in this contest. So not a bad start to the match for the Boland Kavaliers. Away from home again, they are proven time and time again that they are more than capable of getting the win away. Oh, referee just having a bit of a conversation there with Boland, telling them to go back a little bit further. Welsh girl, says Roof there. And Boland fly half needs to convert those tries. Yeah, it didn't seem like the hardest kick either, which might be a bit harsh on Juan Mustard. But they would have liked that extra too, and I think they will need it in a game like this. Western Province throwing it in, nicely taken by Evan Ruiz. Have got their, I believe they're still celebrating in Cape Town. No message yet. Says Blues, Nate. Now, an advantage again in play. I think Boland's going to the bin in the very near future if they are not careful. They just can't afford in a game up against the Western Province, who do have a strong side and a pretty formidable looking bench too, just 1 metre short of the try line here. Looking to go around the side. That is over, and Matongo is the try scorer. Don't do it, ref. Don't do it, ref. He's double blown the whistle. He's going to the pocket here. You're on a warning, and it's going to be a yellow card. Sorry, I had to throw one sound effect in over the Currie Cup, but it is going to be not Curtly. It will be instead Aronson in that 6th jersey. I believe his first name is Sauli? Something like that, hopefully. But a bit of a rough punch for this Boland Kavaliers side, sitting 5-5 now. Yuri Matia ready to kick this ball towards the posts, and it goes over. 7 points to 5. Western Province take the lead on their home turf. That explosion was delayed, unfortunately. Yellow card, says no, mum. Yellow card as well. So that hurts when you're Boland, because they've actually got a skill, and that skill is getting a yellow card when they concede a try. It's happened quite a few times. So tell me, Hamish, why did Vernon and his friends fight? A couple of New Zealand friends. I think your New Zealand wasn't that funny. Says Morley Lagrange. I didn't know that was going to happen. I just thought we'd have a nice civil conversation. But no, they went back and forth. But at the end of it, I think they were all good. And also afterwards, Vic was keen to maybe do something with them in the future. We have got there Mono Granger Sports Lad being high. A big win, don't take it so personally. Says Big Rig, and no yellow. Says Roof there. 25 minutes through at the moment. Another 9 remaining of the Aransa yellow card. Good exit from the Western Province. At the moment, the way that the table sits, Boland would still be in second. They had good spirit, says Wild Lobster. Yeah, we had a bit of a conversation about it after the stream. How, it was... Of course, there was back and forth. But it was also the case of, none of it was personal. It was just more so the kind of banter side of things. Whereas some people turn their banter into, personal attacks. Whereas, yes, they were going back and forth, but it was all about, that was Ford, another one in this match. But it was all about what had happened type thing, if that makes sense. And Vic and Vern, I would have talked smack if South Africa had smashed New Zealand. And Vic actually said that after the live stream as well. He said he actually, the other way around, he would have well and truly wanted to rip into the Kiwis like Tony did. Oh, that's going to be another penalty. Every time you say Yuri Matia, I look around for my mother. Is your mother's name Yuri? Or is your name Yuri? Or is that because your name Yuri that you're looking for her because she named you Yuri? I don't think I've ever seen Yuri so many times. Springbok skewed badly. Next week, will be a smash for them. Says Dion there. And also 14 men on a dead man's chest, says Ruth. Tell me, Hamish, steak and cheese pies is calling you. Think about it, sneaking in with another pie. I wouldn't mind a pie, although nowhere will have a pie. The local dairy, or at least one of the bigger ones with a cafe, is closed on a Sunday. So there's no pies available, unfortunately. Could probably find one somewhere, but I don't know. After an all-nighter, is a pie the best decision? Probably. Now Boland managing to claim that line out, going off to the right-hand side. Xavier Mitchell tried to sneak his way through. Oh, that's going to be knocked on by Sydney Tobias, just not quite able to rein it in. And then a knock on coming back the other direction from the Western Province. We are back for another scrum here. Like they are saying, Boland just want to get that try back as quickly as physically possible. But yeah, a lot of handling errors for a dry game here in Cape Town. Handling errors 4 so far from the Western Province. I only consume meat pies in winter, says Katsanel. It is currently winter here in New Zealand. We have got there, Tony. Did he badmouth the Bok or what? I missed that part. I think he was... The thing is, he's very much a loud personality anyway, so I don't think anything he said he actually fully meant. He was more so just trying to rub it in that they won. And then straight away back was the 4 fingers going up for the 4 World Cups from Vic and Vern. It was a hectic minute of that stream. And I was sitting there going, what have I done? But now big scrum. And we're going to have a reset. Again. When is Italy playing, says Katsanel. You're talking about the women, I assume. In that case, Katsanel, I will get you that information. In fact, I already have a tab open, so I will just tell you. Italy play Brazil tomorrow at 1 a.m. New Zealand time. So that would be Monday, because we are currently a bit more ahead. So it goes Italy, Brazil at the same time as New Zealand versus Ireland. So we will be covering New Zealand, Ireland in that one. And then alongside that, France versus South Africa is straight afterwards, and we will be doing that one on the channel as well. We have got there, you just laugh. When that fight happened, maybe Australia can break Eden Park Hoodoo, says Monet. Well, the thing is, I couldn't do much else but laugh because I wasn't going to be loud enough because they were both shouting. So that meant that I could either sit there and just sit in silence and let it fizzle out, or the other option, I guess, was to just kick them both off. But then I thought, no, we won't do that. But now, shot called at the post here for Boland. 2-minute noodles, says Ruth. Best food after an all-nighter is 99 Yen Street noodles. I might be tricky to find in South Canterbury, North Otago. Yeah, I haven't heard of Yen Street noodles. It was poking fun that South Africa kept losing at home, while New Zealand never lose it in Eden Park. Says Big Rig. But like Vern said, you know, New Zealand have lost quite a few times in Wellington, and that is where they're going to be playing next. So, you know, it's very much a case where there will be a bit of banter or a bit of talk back and forth, I would think, throughout the week between the two sets of fans. But there is a chance that it's 1-1. The noodles are delicious, 5 packets. 5 packets of noodles would go all right. Although I haven't actually had 2-minute noodles in... I know I said last live stream that I hadn't had cauliflower in 10 years. But I would say I haven't had 2-minute noodles in at least 5. Which is quite sad. Watch the YouTube highlights. What did Quagga get a yellow for? As he was very upset. And the second thing I saw was the Artie penalty. But he was lifting the player, not the ball. Says Yuri. So the Quagga Smith one was just unfortunate that it was in such a dangerous position on the field for New Zealand. But it was pretty much he wasn't onside when he tried to get that steal. And he might have even been offside when he initially ran up off the line to make the tackle. So, yeah, it was one of those ones that was ruled as cynical. We have got there, let me guess, 2-minute noodles are 30 minutes away. No. They are theoretically only 2 minutes away if I cook them. But no, I don't know why I haven't had 2-minute noodles. I think it's because someone told me a story about 2-minute noodles and I believed them. And now I haven't had them since. But they said about what happens to them once you eat them. And it just, I don't know. For some reason, I'm not going to even tell you what they said because I don't want to ruin 2-minute noodles for more people. Because I'm willing to take that sacrifice of me just not having them rather than putting a whole heap of people off. Now going off to the left-hand side, big collision there. In the middle of the field for Leleon Zas. And pot of noodle, chicken and mushroom. Says Roof there. And also I used to have noodles all the time when I was a student, says Big Rig Joe. Yeah, they're a pretty cheap staple food. That's going to be another penalty. Okay, it's going to be against Van der Vesterhazen. Please don't go there, says Lilia. Tell us, says V. No. It's like back at school when I was in music class. And I decided, I don't know what you guys call them overseas though, but they're kind of like cocktail sausages, you know, like saveloys they're called here in New Zealand. And they're pretty much like little sausages that have a red shell on them. But I had them for lunch a few days in a row because I was like, wow, I'm all prepared. And she ruined them for me. She was like, do you know what's in them? My parents, they found this in one of theirs. And I was like, why did you do that? So now I haven't had one since. So sad. But now wide cut out pass. Cheswell September. Now a little chip in behind. Or Christwell, I should say, rather than Cheswell. Now run down the wing from Yuri Matia. It's going to be very close to the side of the field. And that's another penalty going the way of the Western Province. 27-0 for Samoa. For the USA at halftime. 2 billion people ate cheap noodles today, says Tadros. Well, there you go. I use 2-minute noodles and homemade soap, not on its own. Like the 2-minute noodles, the noodle part or the flavoring part? Got like chicken smelling soap? That would be a bit strange. I hope that you say it's the noodle part now, or else I'll feel bad about calling you strange. I believe that stuff. 2-minute noodles, not fantastic on the health. Says Nas Williams. I stopped selling them, so God knows what was in them. Says Big Rig. Used to sell big frozen bags of like 20 to 30 sausages for 50p. That's too cheap. That's quite concerning. Now, you said there that they've stopped selling them, which probably makes sense. Not just because they were probably quite expensive, or you think that they would have been slightly pricey for them to make, but now Smith running down the wing and driven into touch. I think the ref was a little bit early putting up that touch flag there. It seemed like maybe he managed to free up that ball beforehand. But just the 20 seconds remaining of the yellow card. I've actually seen since that yellow that Boland have got themselves 3 points, whereas after that try and yellow card was awarded, we haven't actually seen Western Province get themselves any more points throughout this period of time. Right, looks like he's making his way back on now. Arinsa. They've got their bowling by 8 points. It's the way you've prepared, or they're prepared before you add boiling water, right? Says Nas Williams. Oh, sorry, that was actually Ruth. Now, slap back for Stephen Nkura. Told to get out of there, Boland. I can't believe it's 35 minutes through. I feel like I've just been rambling. So we do apologise if there hasn't been a lot of commentary involved. Referee just about got cleaned up. Now Nkura again. Going to roll this one back. Going to look for some height on it. Put in behind, chasing after it. It is Sergio Pedersen who all but got it. But then in the end did end up knocking that ball on. And okay, Shifru, my bad. Says Nas. Now, thinking about going for the pass, but instead they will go back for the knock-on. Few of those throughout this game. I feel like with the pace that both sides are trying to play, though, that's to be expected. A couple little handling errors along the way. But I think second half will open up here. Starting to see a bit more fatigue setting in. What is in them? Mint stuff that you shouldn't eat. Says Nas Williams. Oh, sorry, that was Ruth. Why do I keep on calling you Nas Williams? I know Nas Williams is above you. But I don't know. It just seems to be, I don't know. The thing is, an N and an R are not that close together. Nor is a purple logo compared to a green logo. Must be my brain. Cheswell September. Christwell, I should say. Getting ready to feed this ball in for the Boland Kavaliers. Boland need to work on their discipline. Yeah, they just give away far too many penalties. And I do think at times it hasn't cost them throughout the season. But in those big playoff games, a good, nice kick in behind from Mostert. Awkward bouncing ball. And in the end, Sinatla had a little bit of a decision to make. He almost decided to leave it alone to see if it would go dead. Maybe you need sleep. Probably. You are tired and need the sleeps. Says Nov Mum. Yeah. I think I got less sleep last night than I should have. I was actually up till about probably 8 a.m. Somewhere around there. Maybe even a bit later. Probably got about 4 hours sleep. 5 hours if I'm lucky. Let's get behind from September. Ooh, little bit of push and shove there between a couple players. Boland, as well as Stephen Nkura, who's getting told to get out of it. And at least it's closer. It might be a tad tired, mate. It's been a hectic day. Those 3 live streams back-to-back as well. Like, there were just no breaks. We saw Samoa versus Fiji overlapping with Australia versus Argentina, which almost overlapped with South Africa versus New Zealand, but we eventually got onto that stream probably about 15 minutes later than I thought that we would. But I just don't trust when they're going to actually play next week now. because, everywhere said 4:30, but they ended up playing at 4:50. So does that mean next week it's going to be at 4:20 rather than 4? Maybe. Congrats on the New Zealand win, says Tristan. Yeah, it was a hectic game. That is for sure. I'm surprised I still have a voice after that one, as well as the crazy finish to Argentina versus Australia. Mate, Lions versus Griquas, halftime points, over or under 28.5. Any guess, just a hint, as an expert? I am far from an expert. In fact, I would call myself the opposite of an expert, because whatever I normally predict doesn't happen. So I would highly recommend not asking me, because I will get it wrong and you will lose your money. Did you see any other Anfield Shield game? Southland shortest held in Shield history. Doesn't surprise me. Canterbury were always going to be really tough heading into that game. I haven't seen the score. I'll actually have a look now. And also we'll see if we got any other updates from that Women's World Cup game, although I do think it will still be half-time. I think you were 3 for 3 today. As in like my predictions. Yeah, I guess so. Probably not by the margins that I was thinking. Like that New Zealand game, I did predict 22-23, which honestly we weren't a mile off. But yeah, still half-time in that USA versus Samoa game for the Ranfurly Shield match. 54-14. So now Canterbury get to defend it next week. So need to bias now, running forward again. 90 seconds remaining in this first half. Scoreboard's gone a little bit to sleep, but that is because I'm in charge of it. One more. We'll go like that. Come on. Let me do it. Let me do it. Let me do it. There we go. There we go. 39 minutes through at the moment. Dion Foree getting the steal and the breakdown for the Western Province. Portien goes back across. Now Yuri Matea trying to snipe his way through. Ivan Ruiz. Let's make a few extra meters. Prediction for the Wales versus Fiji at the Women's World Cup. I think that Wales should win, but honestly, I'm not sure where Fiji sit compared to them. Like, if Fiji play like they did up against Scotland, they'll actually push Wales, I feel. But I don't know whether or not Fiji have another big game in them like that one. That game is actually starting in only 17 minutes' time. Wonder what the fight will be if South Africa beat New Zealand convincingly. I just wonder what the fight, as in like what the fight afterwards would be. And we have got there, Dan Paul Scotland says Nars Williams, and Canterbury have to defend against Tasman, Taranaki and Otago, all contenders. And the thing is, if Tasman beat Canterbury, then Tasman face Waikato. And theoretically, Waikato could have a 3-week turnaround where they get the Shield back, which would have to be one of the fastest turnarounds in Ranfurly Shield history too. You think the Bok just played too many mistakes, or were they outplayed? I think it was a bit of both. New Zealand were a little bit more clinical out there on the field, but South Africa's handling once again did let them down. It's been a bit of a factor in a few of the games so far. A few obstructions throughout that match too, which they just couldn't afford. And even like the perfect example of South Africa's performance summarised is that 50-22, where they won it and then Malcolm Marx got free kick against them for not throwing the ball in. Like, that could have been a game-changing moment if maybe Oxen Share had been able to score that try rather than Rico holding him up of all people. Now a big run from Evan Ruiz, just out from their own goal line here. Boland having to defend, big shot on Stephen Nkura. Gets driven backwards a little bit more. And we have got there. Do you also think New Zealand are favourites to win the Rugby Championship, even if South Africa wins next week? Still don't see us defending our Rugby Champs title, says Tristan. It's a tricky one. I think New Zealand have to win both up against South Africa to have a good chance, because Australia are chomping at their heels to try and get that first place position. Hamish, you're quite a genius. Get it right regularly. I also get it wrong quite a bit, but I try and make you guys forget that. So that it seems like I almost know what I'm talking about. Canterbury, Tasman, both South New Zealand, or Tasmania, Australia. So Tasman is in like the Nelson region of New Zealand. I speak of the Vern and your New Zealand friends that fight for next weekend. Yeah, I'd assume they'll both be keen to come back on. Maybe. Like, that's the thing. Tony, originally I think he was going to be too busy to jump on, because as you can see on that one, Mark was actually setting up for their post-match review of the game. Advantage here for the Western Province. Still searching for it, Nkura. Cross to the right-hand side. Yuri Matea puts in a beautiful cross kick to Sergio Peterson. He was played off the ball there. They're going to be disappointed. It looks like this might end up being half-time. Or is he? Side entry, in fact. We're going back for an original penalty. Okay, it's now been 3 penalties in a row. They have recently had a guy return from a yellow card as well. So this is not exactly the time to be risking getting yourself another one. Definitely not in a game that is so substantial and important for this team. Yeah, it was nicely taken by Ruben van Heeren initially in the line out. Just the advantage going out from the referee. Now, what can Boland do on their own line? Evan Rus playing good enough to be called up to the box? Not yet. I think he needs a couple more big runs. He's had a couple little mistakes throughout this one. But I'd still think he's thereabouts. You know? He's probably, I want to say, third choice at the moment. Abel Tasman, first European to New Zealand and Australia. Both countries have parts named after him. And although apparently Portuguese were aware of Oz 100 years earlier, says Duds Race. And South Africa pretty much out of the championship? No, not at all. If they get themselves the win in Wellington, that's a good contest in the air. Dion Forêt, and the penalty will go the way of Boland. And now it's all kicking off there. Evan Roos right in the middle. That doesn't help because, you know, it's been talked about all the time about his temper. And there was a while where he seemed to be quite calm, but in this case, he has almost lost the plot. Someone deciding to rub his head as well. It's Marlon Williams. That's not a good look for a captain. I think the referee might have a conversation with him here because he decided to give them a couple little head rubs, and that might actually end up with the penalty getting reversed if he's not careful. Okay, yeah, Marlon Williams was the man who got the first initial line-out steal from Boland, and then Dion Forêt was in an offside position. Okay, referee Mone Ferreira just saying there this is not going to happen again. Okay, Dion Forêt is just saying they shouldn't have run in like that, but it was also Evan Roos who did actually start most of it. All right, they've taken the tap. They have kicked it into Dutch in halftime in this contest. 7 points to the 8. We had that halftime on there as a Kiwi. We don't like Australians, and to put us together, it's disrespectful. Says Nars Williams, I need help, please. Been a Western Province supporter for many years. Now I now live Wellington, almost on the doorstep of Boland Kavaliers Stadium. Who do I shout for? See, it's a tricky one. Because I would say throughout URC, Stormers, 100%. But in the Currie Cup, I mean, everyone loves Boland, don't they? In terms of what they've been able to do. And they just seem to be one of those teams that, like, you can see the passion. And every single game that they go out there on the field, they play like it is their last. And the Rugby Championship is very close. Imagine if all get 3 wins each. Still very possible. It is. And those bonus points would be a massive factor in that regard because we would need to see, you know, those 3 or more tries ahead of the opposition or within 7. You know, even that 1 point that South Africa managed to get for themselves could be vital if they get themselves a second win. We have got there. We were at a church function this morning. Showed the bot game there. And let me tell you, they were not impressed. I imagine there were a few groups who were watching that game who weren't feeling too great at the end of it. I think it was the same in New Zealand as well. There were a lot of nervous Kiwis around. And jokes lived in Oz for a fair bit. Aussie. Says Nars Williams. And I kind of secretly want Australia to win the championship just to show they are back. Says Big Rig Joe. Question. If Australia win the rugby championship, are you giving them the Bledisloe as well? Or are you just giving them the rugby championship in there as well? And we have got there where they singing. And do you also think that home ground advantage has played too big of a role in the matches between South Africa and New Zealand. Think of all 3 last games. Could have been different at neutral ground, always close, says Tristan. Well, that's the thing. Like, in the preview, I went into it a little bit. And it is intriguing because of the last 9 games that New Zealand have played up against South Africa, only 1 of them had been played in New Zealand. And South Africa winning 6 out of the 9. Neutral ground, I think, sometimes tells you. But the thing is, it's rugby at the end of the day. So one team can be better one week and the other can be better the next. Like, New Zealand still got themselves a couple wins in South Africa prior to the most recent rugby championship. And go with whoever Annie favours. So here's Lilia B, and another try for the USA. Needs 6 more tries minimum. Says Studs Race. Yeah, they're going to need a massive second half if they want to get themselves through to the next stage. USA, another top try. They're going for it. Says Studs Race. I might have to get it up on a little screen next to me, might I? How do I do that? 1 second. We'll go like this. Turn down the volume. Multi-view. And we'll stick that there. Yep, there we go. I was confused whether or not I was on the right game because Fiji were there with, the Fijian women's side were actually in the stands. Don't they play soon? Oh, I'm on the wrong game. This is Wales versus Fiji. That makes sense. Here we go. USA versus Samoa. At the moment, it's 39 points to 0 after 44 minutes. Currently halftime in this contest. A bit of a lower scoring one than some would have expected. Can't take away from the 50,000 fans squealing for everything, single thing you do. Booing your opponents does to you, says Big Rig. The national anthems I actually thought were quite cool today. I know that it's probably something that most people brushed it over, but the choir singing of the national anthems, I don't know, it felt cool. The fact that it was the same choir who sung both national anthems. Something nice about the kind of camaraderie of the two teams. And Hamish, how were you feeling after the All Black game, just to sit in the middle of the arguing between Tony and Vic and Vern? Yeah, it was going. I just thought, it'll pass over. Eventually we'll get a word in. And, we, after that, sorted it out. And there's no bad blood between them. In fact, I think both of them would happily come on for another one in the future. We have there, so I guess 101 more now. Says Big Rig, and 135 points is what USA needs to qualify. Although they do, in this scenario, have Australia losing to England by a big margin as their little bit of a backup. One of the most beautiful renditions, Nkosi Sikalele Africa I've ever heard, says Tristan. Yeah, it was different, but in quite a nice way. It's the same as what we saw in South Africa last year. Like, anyone who hasn't already, go back and listen to those national anthems. The crowd singing them. Like, it will give you goosebumps listening to the South African national anthem in front of a sold-out Cape Town or Ellis Park. As a neutral, the best thing that could happen for the championship would be Argentina won it, says Fleshin. And the thing is, they're still in the running. They just need to make sure they get that next win up against the Aussies. Like, they were so close in this game. I might be biased, but I think England has the worst national anthem. It's bad, says Big Rig. The one thing I like about the English national anthem is it's short and snappy. There's no minced words. It's just pretty much, I could say the whole thing for you in about 20 seconds, but yeah, it's short, it's quick, and then after it, it's just straight into the rugby. Argentina was the shortened version for the national anthem up against the Australians. Yeah, currently Aronsa, just the one man who has taken a yellow card throughout this game. There was a petition to change to Jerusalem by the government, but the government shot it down, says Big Rig. And God save the King, says Rube. And listen to Russie's post-match. What a classy, respectful individual he is regards to footy, says Nas. And our national anthem was played too quick. I blame the loss on it. Okay. I mean, that's probably the first one that I've heard in that regard. Different rendition of the national anthem led to the loss. Maybe that was what they didn't quite have for the end. We don't even sing our national anthem, says Jumbo. Yeah, it's the kind of rugby anthem, isn't it? We'll go like this. We'll go like that as well. They are just showing there France versus South Africa, a game that is taking place tomorrow night. We will be covering that one on the channel as well, ladies and gents. Should be an intriguing one because France will come in as favourites, but South Africa have been quite the handy underdog throughout recent times. Spain is one of the best. We all know it. Even you know it. Do I? What is the Spanish? I've probably heard it, but I can't think of it. I don't blame the ref at all for the loss. Do you think he had a good game? Says Tristan. I called it about a 6 out of 10. And people got annoyed with that because they wanted me to call it about a 3 out of 10. But honestly, the ref, for me, like, it kind of annoys me when the ref gets the blame when sides have more than double digits of handling errors. Like, it just something about it over the years of doing the streams, it just slightly grinds my gears. You know, if New Zealand had lost that game as well, like, it would be the same case. You know, too many handling errors that just cost you. Definitely when you're in attacking scenarios. 50-22 for the South Africans to then not throw the ball in. Like, that's just the little things that make the big difference. And, like, yes, a referee can influence a game a little bit. But I still think there's enough time out there for sides to get the win. Paul Workman blames his tools, blaming the ref. When your team loses is pathetic, in my opinion. Says Big Rig. As a Kiwi, I must say I'm not a fan of the anthem being dragged out to 3 minutes. Says Studs Race. I think it depends on the game. And, you know, sometimes, what was the Irish national anthem I heard? That I was like, this is an absolute banger. Or the Irish rugby anthem, I should say. But it might have been in the 7s when Ireland made it to the final. And I was like, this is great. But I can't remember what match. But it was before the match, and they kind of played it over the loudspeaker on the stadium. And it had the best bass, and it was just absolutely popping off. How about Summertime in the LBC rig? Says Naz Williams. And also, Bok need to change these stupid new style rugby shirts. They need leather straps, kinky, with metal spikes like Mad Max. I think that metal spikes, like they've already got them in their boots. I don't think they need more eyes getting poked out by the spikes, but it would make them effective. I wasn't sure where you were going with your whole leather straps thing, Roof. I thought you were going in a whole different direction there. And I kind of like Canada's. In terms of slow plotting anthems, it's kind of patriotic. So here's Big Rig there. We'll go like that as well. At the moment, in the odds for this matchup, we do see that Boland, even though they are 1 point ahead, they are only very narrow favourites heading into the second half. But honestly, anything can happen throughout the second 40. We must not be too far away because they're showing us burgers here in New Zealand. Just to try and tease me a little bit. That burger had 3 patties in it. Is 3 patties too many for a burger? I feel like 2 kind of works out your mouth a little bit. You know, you can sometimes click that jaw and then it bloody hurts for about 3 days. Currently, after 50 minutes, still the score sitting 39-0 for the USA. As I say that, they're actually breaking the line and more than likely going to get themselves another try, doing another watch-along. Says Tristan. Are we talking about as in today? Because I have got the matchup between England and Australia that is still to come later on tonight. We will be covering that one on the channel too. Big McDonald and Whopper's Burger. And Never Too Many says Wild Lobster. Are you going to do the stream? Or are you going to stream the food? Fiji versus Wales Women's World Cup game, says Ethan. It is just about to take place between those two sides. So I can give you score updates throughout that game. Currently in the USA-Samoa match, it is 39-0 in favour of the US. But yeah, I think we're only a couple minutes away from Fiji and Wales getting underway. 3 patties, only if you have a lot of cheese. And hell no, 5 patties or less, no. 5 patties? How thick are your patties? In general, I would say if they're that thick, maybe you can get away with 5. But if they're like, you know, solid enough, and Boland is going to win, says Thomas, in there as well. Hamish commentary is a whopper, says Ruth in there too. They are just talking to Dion Furi's family by the looks of it. I've got their Wales and Fiji about to kick off, and 3 patties only if the cheese is good. What's the massive McDonald's burger they have? Is it the Big Mac? Or is it... Oh, the Big Arch, says Big Rig. That's an interesting question. They've just pretty much asked Dion Forie's wife, do you wish that he would retire? And she kind of said, like, yeah, it would be good if he was at home. So that just, I don't know, that's a bit of a rough one. But Dion Forie, he's actually finished for this game. He's going to be on the bench for the rest of the contest. What we will do, though, is we will update the score to this. There we go. Oh, I'm going to get fancier than I already am. I've got the Currie Cup on one screen. I've got the Wales-Fiji on another. And then I've also got USA versus Samoa on the other. It looks like Samoa might have just scored. Oh, no, USA scored. Never mind. And passive-aggressive. It did just seem a bit strange. But, you know, yeah. But now Evan Roos actually also taken off the field, so obviously just giving them a few minutes before getting into that URC competition just around the corner. The Springboks should have won because I had the most territory and possession. So here's Ethan. Yeah, it was just that handling in the middle patch of the game. 63 minutes it took for South Africa to get their first try, which, you know, I think was much later than most did expect. We have got their Western Province is going okay here. Are they any chance of breaking the donut set studs race? I think so. They've got a few of their better players back in the environment. So it would actually be a bit concerning if they didn't end up winning it. That is going to be a penalty now going the way of the Western Province. It could be a three-pointer that gives them the lead. And actually don't like the sideline interviews. They look forced. At the Sharks yesterday was quite bad. Just want to watch the game. Says Tristan. And in the Women's Rugby World Cup, there's a couple where one girl plays for Ireland and the other plays for England. That must be awkward. I think it will only be awkward if they have to play each other, which they might not be too far away from having to do if Ireland can go through. Wales. I just see the generic colour and guess the team, but it is Wales. They have scored up against the Fijians within the first about 90 seconds, so that may not go too well for Fiji from here on out. JJ Kutsia, they're going to go for the line out here, the Western Province, rather than going for the more aggressive, or the safer option, I should say, of going for the 3 points. They're driven into touch there. Where is the ball? It's just stayed in the field of play. Now that is very close to the try line, about a metre out, and Boland again have given away another penalty advantage. This is where they could find themselves getting yet again another yellow card. And over the line this time. It's the double blow of the whistle again. Oh, and they go to the bin. That sucks for Boland. Anytime, just concede the try rather than conceding the try and getting a yellow card in the process. That is now the second time in this game that they have done that, but the Western Province will take the lead. And Dayan van der Vesthuizen, he will go to the bin. As the All Blacks defence was a tough wonder. Yeah, they did quite well, New Zealand, defensively. They seemed to muscle up front, which was important. And I think that they just made the crucial tackles. And I don't think South Africa went to the air for those aerial challenges enough. Throughout the game, we have stripes, we have three colours, we have a dot, we have spots, we have a effing dragon, says Big Rig. And Wales have the best flag, but that kick has gone over. We'll now make the score up to 14 points to 8. And again, the Western Province are going to be playing with a man advantage. And the thing is, any side that have to face Boland in this Currie Cup competition, they will know that if Boland end up getting themselves yellow carded, they should be able to fully just, they should dominate up against Boland. But then Boland are the type of team that they don't give up. And they might be back. Is this the last game, Hamish? I got Sky Sport, but prefer your commentary over there. So I am going to be doing England versus Australia for the Women's World Cup. Now, I know that there are 2 other Currie Cup games taking place, but I will be doing some updates for those matches. But it's more so because it is the top of the table clash in that group, as well as the implications of USA trying to qualify to make it through. That is the game that I'm going to be doing on the channel. Hopefully it is a fantastic one. And if it's extremely one-sided, we may end up popping on for the second half of the Carling Currie Cup game between the Bulls and the Cheetahs. Who knows? Nothing really decided as of yet. And Butter English Riff was once us, since we know them in cricket, says Ethan. And also, I should mention tomorrow night we've got New Zealand versus Ireland for the Women's World Cup, and then also South Africa versus France. So still a few more games taking place over the weekend. Nice attack and run again now. Going off to the left-hand side again. Nice little step coming in, and thought about the offload. Yuri Matia can't quite get it away. Pick and go. Moving up to 40 metres out from the line. Good aggressive carry. Little chip across field from Cheswell September, whose name's not Cheswell. In fact, that time it was actually Stephen Nkura. Now Donovan Don, close to the sideline. Knock on there from Ngale, and all they have to do is score it, but it's another forward pass. What time, says Nars Williams? So the England versus Australia game will be kicking off at 4 a.m. New Zealand time, but I am starting at 3:55. What else have we got? The games tomorrow night, I believe, are at 1:45 and 3:45, so probably 10 minutes before each of those is when we are going to be starting those ones. But yeah, overall, still a hectic enough weekend going up. Have you seen the Key and Peele sketch about NFL player names? I have not. I've seen the one in the classroom, but that's one of the only ones. The English rec was against the Springboks, or the English ref was against the Springboks, though, says Ethan. I would also argue that the Springboks seem to be against themselves. You know, just some really poor decisions at times. You know, the passing just looked off as if they hadn't actually been in a side together throughout this year. And the thing is, they almost haven't because of the amount of changes that Rassi has made week in, week out. Then you had those obstructions, about 3 or so throughout a game. I think it was the most obstructions we've seen from a single team in, I don't even know how long. So, you know, I think that they definitely could have done a lot better in that game, South Africa. But it was just that handling as well as just getting it slightly wrong that ended up costing them. They do a bunch of fake stupid player names and slip in real ones that actually exist, often by a real player, if they can get them, to make fun of the crazy things jocks call their kids, says Big Rig. And I believe that Smith was supposed to get a yellow card for that play. I think that, unfortunately, with where it was on the field, had he done it around halfway, they would have said no problem, or it would have still been a penalty. But because it was so close to the line, they pretty much said you've stopped a pretty good attacking chance for New Zealand, so that is why they ended up going with that yellow card. I think besides getting Jesper Visa into the team, he should stay with the same lineup, and injuries should be replaced. Okay. See, I ought to make a couple changes, and we are going to have those videos coming out later on in the week in terms of who I would like to see in that South African team. Yeah, the coaches abuse rotating too much, says Ethan. Yeah, and of course it's all about also building depth though, so you can understand why they do it. But then at the same time, like this lineup, you just would have liked to see the best possible team take to the field. New Zealand, some would argue that they didn't really do that either, but it was an effective team. There's not an A in team, says Ethan. But it was not their, their A+ team. I thought that we were doing some sort of like, there's no I in team. That's a beautiful backline movement for the Western Province, and Lelion Zas scores it out on the wing. Boland's discipline has let them down yet again. And that one is going to hurt them. We'll go like that. We'll update that one a little bit more to 19 points to 8. They're starting to run away with it now. The Western Province finding their rhythm as this match wears on. That's what Vic and Vern says Big Rig. And South Africa has no cohesion because they change their players like a girl changes clothes, to quote Katy Perry, says Big Rig. Good quote. Bit of a banging song. I remember when my sister had a sleepover party and that song played about 57 times. And I just, after 5, you go, this is still all right. Maybe getting sick of it. But by the 57th, you just dislike Katy Perry that little bit. And this game is over, says Tristan. It is a catchy song, to be fair. It is if you don't listen to it 50 times, You start off with just a couple. What's a good Katy Perry song that she's got? It's a Dark Horse. Dark Horse has got a little bit of a drop in it, doesn't it? It's a decent song. Just imagine Hamish singing into a hairdryer with a tear in his eye. Says Big Rig, E.T. Is E.T. like the movie or E.T. the song? And Fiji tries, says Cats now. Yeah, currently leading up against the Welsh, 7 points to 5. Last Friday night, that song's not bad, you know. The song, is it by Katy Perry? Nicely taken by Smith there. Raw is better. Raw is a good song. You know, it's not one that I'd put on every time. Dark Horse. Is that the one I said? I can't even remember what one I said. Was that? Maybe. I can't stand Katy Perry. Do you like any of her songs though, Ruth? I imagine you like California Girls. You know? I don't know. That song might resonate with you just that little bit. Hot and Cold, Katy Perry, Southern Renegade. Now we're just quoting all the Katy Perry songs. The things you see on a late night live stream. And off to the left-hand side, big skip pass from Boland. Now running down the wing. Give me Brian Ferry and Brian Adams. And you too, says Ruth. We have got there, you're also hypnotizing. Could you be the devil? Could you be an angel? Your touch magnetizing. Feels like I'm floating, leaves my body glowing. I have no idea what quote that is, but that's a beautiful run. He has had a sensational break of the line from Xavier Mitchell. I don't know, maybe he heard a bit of the Katy Perry and he started getting excited and ran through a gap. But Boland again, proving exactly why they are so dangerous. When you think they're down and out, and it seems like they are out of a contest, they just come back in, can cause quite the problem. I still can't believe that I sent that kick wide, says Ethan. And I was aware that New Zealand played at Eden Park, which is their ground, and we were doing bad. And it was so close. And also maybe the game is not over. Oh, hang on. I think they're checking something here. Okay, they're checking for a forward pass now. Looks like maybe an injury here in the USA versus Samoa game as well. Right, we're going to see it now. Mostert. Oh, yeah, that's forward. So that's going to be no try for Xavier Mitchell. Well spotted by the TMO. We'll go back and we will take that try away, just as we were praising them. We'll get there, same old situation. Motley Crew says Southern. An inconclusive. Oh, yeah, see, for me, with the positioning of Mitchell, yeah, that's a forward one, unfortunately. Penalty try for the Welsh, I do see too, in the top corner. Okay, game is over, says Tristan. And this bloke, used to play the ukulele guitar, South African national anthem, never doubt his music skills, says Nas. Yeah, it's been a little while since we've had to do that, isn't it? I think I did it after the World Cup win, didn't I? I believe that the Springboks can bounce back next week, says Ethan. And give me some Guns N' Roses with Bon Jovi and Van Halen. Did you cover the Sharks game yesterday? I didn't, but I did see the Sharks got themselves the win. 2 minutes remaining on the clock. Oh, sorry, 2 minutes of the yellow card, I should say. The Springboks almost tried in the last 5 minutes. They looked good in the last quarter of the match, and I do think they deserve a lot of credit for how they tried to fight back into that game, but it was just too little too late in the end. 46-0 in the USA versus Samoa. I don't think that's enough for USA. I think they need another 5 tries or so. Or maybe even if they take 3 tries or something. A big scrum. Front row's going up. Western Province have got themselves another penalty advantage. That one's made an extra 5 metres off the scrum. Now to the left-hand side. Leleon Zas tries to fend, gets it on the inside. Ruan now offloading now. Nicely done here and sitting down the opposition. But Nkura getting to the breakdown quickly. Back across Yuri Matia. That looked close to forward if we're calling them forward in this contest. Break of the line. And it should be the try, but Jonathan Roche gets over and does score the try. Right. Are they checking the forward pass here too? Or is it just when Boland do it? We'll get there in the last 10 minutes. They fought for their life. Says Ethan. Lady Gaga makes me go, makes me goo-goo, says Ruth. And let's go, the boys, says Ruth. And what's the score? Well, with that try from the Western Province, which they are just checking to see if he got a grounding. Yep, he did. So we will add another try to their arsenal. This is knocking Boland more than likely down to 4th in the overall standings, which will mean they don't get a home semi or a home final. Western Province choosing the right time to come right. So we'll shut down the neighbouring provinces' chance of getting a good draw. That kick has gone over. In fact, it will more than likely make Boland face the leaders of the whole competition. Louis Schroeder, he will make his way on. That is going to be for Christwell September. Ever heard of the song On Star Dancing My Darkest Days? I have not heard that song, no. We have got there, even though you don't have any grey hairs. Do you know Two Unlimited? I do have a lot of grey hairs, to be fair. I don't think they come through on the camera. No, they don't come through on the camera, but I've got more than a few. But I don't know who that is, unfortunately. And Even Park is actually a kind of fake because they don't play that much. They play there like every 1 year, says Ethan. Because if you look at the Springboks, they play at the stadiums more than one game per season. Although Eden Park, they are going to be playing 2 games at there for this rugby championship. Going off to the right-hand side now, away for the Western Province. Once again, looking for the attack. Now running down the wing. Sinatla with plenty of pace. Puts the grubber in, but it will roll into touch. Battle medal among ascenders. The Messenger, Land and Hope, or Land of Hope and Glory, all bangers. Says Metal Joe there. And best band nobody knows is Turisas. Turisas. I've never heard of Turisas. Am I saying that right? Or is it like Turisas? Something like that. Maybe a little bit different because the All Blacks barely invite people to go play against them in Eden Park, so it's kind of theft the record. Says Ethan, although we did go through it on the preview and worked out, they've beaten South Africa 5 times there. The main opposition that they've faced at Eden Park is Australia. But yeah, they've played the Box there 5 times. I think they've played, that's a forward pass. Oh, they have called it this time. And who are you playing, or who are they playing against Indian Park again? Or who are they playing against at Eden Park again? They're playing up against Australia in 3 weeks' time for the first match of the Bledisloe Cup. So, yeah, just around the corner from taking place. We will go like this. We will go like that. The Western Province way around. Sears Ruth and AB's play at Eden Park plenty. Just a quirk of the last 7 years that the Box haven't been there. Sears Studs race. And a semi-comedic Norwegian heavy metal band who paint themselves red and act like Vikings. Also use a violin instead of a guitar. There you go. And those grey hairs are from your granny chasing days. No. Where did the granny side of it come from? Because that lady at the bowling alley, she would have been probably like 29. If that. Maybe 30. I think it was from was it from Grant who said it was a grandma who was like 65? And now ball is out there for the Western Province. Kicked in behind. Lilion Zust landing. He's hurt his back. I was about to say he's landed awkwardly, but he really has. And he does not look too flash at the moment. It's the last thing that the Western Province will want, and also the last thing that the Stormers would want heading into the season. At the moment, in terms of the other games, 10-7 in the game between Wales and Fiji. I can't read that. That's quite small. Is it 63-0 for the English at the moment, or have I got that wrong scoreline? Oh, sorry, the USA. I keep on calling them England because they're wearing the white. That's too small for me to read. It might be 63, it might be 53, it might be 60. I think it's 53. Maybe. 53-0. I need 3 more, says Studs Race. And we can hide your grey hairs so my aunt won't notice when you stay over. I don't even know what to say to that. I don't think I will be. Cool story. Because you keep on telling me mixed opinions about your aunt. You say in one thing that she's lovely, and then the others you kind of have that kind of red flag type of situation. 46 for the USA, says Big Rig. And exactly, that proves my point. We had to play them all. That record was gone. Says Ethan. So you're saying if every single game that South Africa and New Zealand played was at Eden Park, eventually South Africa would win. Now, I feel like, well, I mean, to be fair, eventually they would have to lose, wouldn't they? You're grey. That's too young to be grey. People get grey in their 40s. No, it's a common enough occurrence. You know, some people go grey probably at about 20, to be honest. Like, I've seen a couple of people who are younger than me already have a bit of grey hair. And it's just a sign of life, isn't it? Sometimes you end up with your hair staying there. Like, well, I'm going to be bald at some point, surely. I think that'll be by 30. And I'm currently 25. So I've got a few good years left in me. That's where I've got to try and find myself a nice partner. And then I'll just wear a hat all day. That's the plan. Didn't they draw one time? They did. At Eden Park. Or were they at Eden Park that they drew? Or was that Sky Stadium? 100 IQ move. Dye your hair grey when you're 19. Then no one will notice when you age. That would take a high level of confidence. But it could be a good strategy. It looks like Samoa were just about to score up against the USA, but they got it dragged down like 3 meters short of the try line. And Kotsuri Hamish is getting red, blushing. Says Ruth there. And Blinding Lights this weekend, or the weekend, is the most successful song according to American Billboard. It's got a lot of plays. One moment, we will go like this. Oh, that's out on the full, I think. A little bit of a mistake from David Britz. I want to see whether or not there is going to be the odds change here. I feel like Western Province, compared to where they were slight underdogs going into the second half. But now, with a little bit of luck, if I click this button, they are currently sitting as quite heavy favourites, as you would expect. But they're expected to win this game by 20 points, which means they're not done yet. And we have got their Gutted for Samoa. Says, no, Mum, yeah, they were so close to being able to score. And of course, that one does hurt drastically in terms of, oh no, they're very close to scoring again here. Not just Samoa, but also Western Province getting that rolling maul moving forward. Now, Lumbrek has been tied up very nicely by this Boland defence. That ball not quite coming out as cleanly as the Western Province would have liked. The twist chubby checker is number 2 according to the American Billboard. And, well, let's say if we played at least 20 games, so that record was gone. Says Ethan there. Because after the Springboks came over last day, for Avengers. So Springboks over 80% chance of winning in Wellington. Says Ethan. And if grey gets out of control, you should consider colouring your hair. I'm scared girls is going to run away from you. Says Mornay. I don't know if grey hair is such the big, scary turn-off that everyone thinks it is, though. You know, like, it's just hair at the end of the day. I feel like, well, it depends on how old are you, Mornay, out of curiosity. Are you quite young? Because it may be because, like, when you're younger, it's like, grey hair means old. But when you're older, it's just like, hair is hair. You know, whether it's orange or whether it's green. Well, of course, they'd have to dye it to get it to a green type of situation. Currently just a metre short of the green over the try line for this Western Province team. Gingers go grey more subtly. Says, cool story, that's close. Are they over here or was it held up? I think they're going to have to check this one. Sorry, my English is bad because I'm Afrikaans, says Ethan. Did you hear that awful Will Smith song called Pretty Girls? I've never heard it. And we have got there, shave or wear an orange wig. An orange wig might stand out a little bit, I would say. Another one, Western Province. Right, they are going upstairs to check this. I wonder whether or not Boland maybe came in an offside position from Lambrek, in which case this could end up being a potential penalty try. Stevie Nicks is my best female singer, and Karen Carpenter says Southern. Do yourself a favour and don't look it up for the Will Smith song. And hey, some people have orange here. Says Big Rig. True. just like some people have green here. I saw a bloke locally who was mowing his lawn without a shirt on, and he had green hair, except he only had it at the back, and a little, like, almost like a triangle at the back of his head was green, and the rest was just not there. And a whole heap of tattoos. That's my fun story. And Zero, I'm not sure if you know schoolboy rugby in South Africa, but I play for Grey College. I have heard of Grey College. What position do you play, Ethan? It looked like they have a cat on their head. See, here's a big rig. We're having a Western Province. Got cattle prod at half-time coming. Yeah, they have certainly looked more dangerous in the second half. The TMO is still checking this one. Didn't Warlord do that? Dyed one side of his beard ginger and the other black? I think so, didn't he? Back in the day? Right, they're saying they're no clear grounding. Okay, it's going to be a 5-metre scrum attacking ball. Dyed mine green. Last year, bright green looked like a Martian. See, I have an uncle whose nickname is, and I don't know where this nickname came from, but everyone refers to him as Uncle Greenballs. And I think it's because one day he went swimming and then didn't have a shower afterwards, and then his hair kind of slightly turned green. And I guess that involved all the hair. How you doing, the Bulls Cheetahs game? It depends. I think that if the England-Australia game is slightly close, I'll probably end up covering that one right through. But we will have the Currie Cup games next weekend. I am at least hoping to be able to do those games. Now you can have all grey hair, but have a 12-inch respectfully. It's no secret that's what they want, says Naz. I had jet black hair, started to go grey in my late teens. Didn't take that long to go full grey. I haven't had a full hair. I still have a full head of hair, says Fleshin. I'm cool with girls with purple hair, says Big Rick Joe. So fly half is the position Ethan's playing. So you could be the next Sasha Feinberg Ngume Zulu. 5 metres out from the line here for the Western Province. It's just gone down awkwardly, that scrum, but it will go back for the penalty. As it safe for us grey hair folk to rejoin the chat, says Jimbo? I think so. I don't know. Where did the hair topic come from? Was it Mornay who started it, saying that he's worried I was going to go grey and that the females would not like me? And red hair too, says Ruth. And that's the try now for the Western Province. They are really starting to run away with this game. So maybe, did Samoa just score? Or was it USA again? But we'll go like this. 62. And we will go 31 on the board. That tends to happen when the game isn't competitive. Yeah, as soon as it gets slightly one-sided, everyone kind of slightly loses interest in terms of the actual match. Like, the thing is, Western Province, like, they've done what they've needed to. They've got their warm-up for their kind of next game and the kind of URC side of things. But at the same time, I think that Boland probably would have beaten the Western Province team we've seen recently. I've had grey hair since I was 20. My beard has always been grey, says Jimbo. And chat goes utterly bubbly. Or sorry, butterly. We have got there banging it in now with the winky face from Ruth, the Western Province. And Uncle Greenball, says Ruth there too. Yeah, it's quite the nickname. I think it's more so Uncle Greeny now. I think he lost the balls. Well, he didn't lose his balls, but they kind of, I guess it just over time, that disappeared from it. Hopefully right now my kick record is 39 out of 45. That's very decent, Ethan. So just keep at it. It's the main thing. As long as you're spending that time putting in the hours on the park, you should be able to do very well. So here's a question. Who would be on your Mount Rushmore of rugby union? That's tough. Because I'm not that great with some of the older players. I could probably give you a New Zealand Mount Rushmore, but I feel like even that might be a little bit wrong. But I feel like you're looking at Lomu, McCaw, Carter. Who would be the fourth New Zealander on Mount Rushmore, I wonder? Be a tricky one, actually, in terms of who would be that fourth. And thank you, Ruth. It's never bothered me because it's the same as my dad. See, there's Jimbo there. Now getting close to the line, Boland. And off to the right-hand side. Now sneaking through for another offload. And it's going back for the penalty. Percy Montgomery, the number 4, says, cool story. Although just for New Zealanders. For that one, Pine Tree. Yeah, no, that's probably a fair shout, isn't it? Jus van der Vesthuizen, Lomu Carter, McCaw, Brian Williams. Says Ruth there. Now kicking it into touch again for Boland. One second. We'll go like this. And like that as well. And great job, Ethan. Says Lilia B. And also we have got there just on the South African mountain. Yeah, I think there's quite a few of those guys. Oh, what a steal that is for Sangweni. But he's dropped the ball. I don't know if he's got a grounding there. Sangweni maybe. The only way he would have put that down is over his head like that, perhaps. I think they're going to check this. See whether or not he managed to do it. Checking whether or not it did pop out. I'm still sad about Houston Jonna, says Ruth. Okay, he did lose that ball, and yep, I'm just angry that I'm not in the forward pack because I'm literally 6'1" and I'm 16. Well, all I'd say there is if you are kicking well, you know, you're sitting with 39 out of 45. So if that is the position that you want to go with in terms of fly half rather than getting in those rucks and whatnot, just keep on kicking. Keep on going for it. Because the thing is, some teams look for those slightly bigger fly halves. So if you've got a bit more bulk to you, perhaps that could actually work in your favour rather than the kind of smaller, zippier players. They might want someone with a bit more of a crash ball carry. Bless you, Hamish. Take a swig of water, baby. Says Ruth. And bless you, says Lily. I think you. Should I take a swig of the water? I haven't actually had any water on this stream. But I honestly thought that my voice would have disappeared a long time ago. And luckily it hasn't. Currently Boland, 65 minutes gone now, breaking the line, massive attack and play, and they will score. Surely not, right? There's no way of coming back here, but Donovan Don scores his 9th try of the season. One moment, we'll go like that. We'll go like that as well, but Donovan Don, 9th Currie Cup try. Jaden Bantam. That was a very quick run. And Boland, yep, Boland. Able to score at one moment. I'm about to sneeze again. This time I will actually mute, though. We are good. Hopefully, what a great response. See his roof there. But now, Donovan Don. Can he get to double digits in this Carling Currie Cup? Honestly, I think he could at the end of this game. Oh, overthrown. Now, Western Province, they wanted to take the quick throw, but it is actually going to be the hands of Boland. They've got it right. Full time, 16-0 for Samoa. One second, we'll go like this. I want to check quickly and see what that does to the table. If hopefully it's updated already. Although it might be a bit longer. Right, England, USA, where are they? So USA have 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. And their points differential sits -2. Which does mean for the Australians, they would have to lose by 76 points. So there you go. That is what is on the line in that next game that we are going to be covering on the channel. That is kicking off in only around an hour and 40 minutes time. I've seen Jus van der Vesthuizen here in Auckland at the bus stop a few decades ago when I was a kid. That dude was massive. Says Naz Williams. And poor Samoa. Honestly, that's not a bad result for Samoa. In fact, that's their best of the competition. So I would say well done to the Samoans. Yeah, true. I got some bulk to me, 113 kgs, says Ethan. I mean, if you're 113 kgs and you're banging over 90% of your kicks, you know, you could turn into a bit of a hybrid. Gareth Edwards, JJ Williams, JPR Williams, Phil Bennett for the British and Irish Lions towards South Africa, says Ruth. Another line out throw here for the Western Province as the score sits 33 15. Boland would need 3 tries in quick succession if they did want to go on and win this game. It's not impossible, but they're running very short on time. Now, ball is there, a little bit scrappy, and along the ground, Ruanel. Rush defence from Boland, and that is another penalty advantage, this time going against Lambrek, watching Fijian ladies. How good are they going, or how good are they going to be in the Rugby World Cup 2029? Well, that's the thing, like, they are beating Wales by currently 11 points, which I don't think many people would have been anticipating. Oh, a little bit of a push and shove there. But, you know, they've looked impressive throughout the early stages of the game, from what I've seen anyway. I know that they conceded first, and then from there, they kind of managed to bring it back. Uh-oh. This sounds like another yellow card. From 23, so there's going to be Bantam, who could find himself going to the bin here. And Western Province have blown away Boland. Yeah, true, I got some bulk to me. 113 kg, says Ethan. And also, Wales feel like the only team in the women's division, which has gotten weaker over the past 4 years. Okay, we're currently seeing there's a lot of emotion there for the USA ladies. I think that they're almost accepting that they're knocked out of this competition, because there was quite a few tears as well. But it's not over yet. You know, Australia could have an absolute rubbish day at the office. When are the Springbok women going to play France? Are you going to cover it? We certainly are. So it will be taking place in pretty much 25 or so hours' time. But I will have that one scheduled. It will be after the next live stream between Australia and England. I'll get that one all scheduled, ready to go, so that you know when it is. But it will be 5:45 p.m. for you guys in South Africa in terms of the time. It's also their first win. So yeah, there's big rig there. True, actually. Yeah, no, I didn't think about that, because they had that draw up against the Aussies, didn't they? A loss followed by a draw, followed by a big win. It must be an emotional roller coaster, says Big Rig. I'm working on 15, position 2. Says Ethan, I was in the police, and there was a bit of hell as your mother, and he was there. We called a few cars in. Says Wild Lobster. And Boland playing poker, so that is another card. This time, Jaden Bantam. So they just aren't helping themselves, unfortunately, in this one. That's the third yellow card here in this match, isn't it, for Boland? I've only scored the 2 tries. Western Province have got themselves the bonus point. So Boland minimum need to get themselves 2 more. 12 men on a dead man's chest. So here's Ruth there. Now line out throw. There's Wokozela. Throw it in 5 metres out from the try line. Nicely taken by Western Province. So I could almost half by got dragged down, or at least one player did. Now getting closer, they are over, as you would expect from a URC side. And that is going to be the try that secures the game here for the Western Province. Boland, with this points differential starting to creep down a little bit, I would say they're looking at a finish in 4th in the overall standings. Boland equals Ronda Rousey. Western Province equals Holly Holm. Says Big Rig. And yes, I want to be a hybrid. I'm working on number 15 position right now, says Ethan. So yeah, just keep on working at it. Keep on training. And yeah, just enjoy it is something that I will say. Some kids or younger players, when they are really focused on trying to get to the top level, sometimes they don't enjoy the ride. And then when they get there to the top level, they kind of feel like they've missed out on a lot of the enjoyable side of things. So just make sure you're loving every single game that you're playing. That one has gone over. Making a score now 38 points to 15 with just the 10 minutes remaining. It looks like Fiji might have themselves another try here. Yes, they do. Had they beaten Scotland, Fiji could have been a real contender in terms of making it through to those quarterfinals. But now, 10 minutes to go. And this fixture, Fijiana on 5, Fiji runaway try. Yeah, they're just playing some really good rugby here, the Fijiana side. Hopefully, yep, there we go. I've gone back to the dual screen So I can now see just the two. Do Boland think it's Christmas in September with all these yellow cards? Discipline is bad for Boland. Yeah, it's hurt them throughout the season, but it hasn't hurt them as much as it has in this game. I'm trying to work on for competing for the ball in the air. Yeah, that's one that just takes a little bit of practice in terms of just trying to line that one up. But just keep at it. Even if it seems like it's difficult at the start, just keep on going. Now, back across to the right-hand side in the hands of Ruben van Heeren, who looks like he's going to be playing the full 80 minutes. They just really like the Simpsons, all right. And she missed the previous World Cup due to injury. She said it made her appreciate this one in a way she wouldn't have when she was younger. Says Big Rig. Blue has been told to leave it, and they did not leave it. Talking about Connor Evans in the breakdown. In your opinion, what do you think? I'm too big? Or do you think I'm too big to be a winger? Depends on what type of role you're trying to play. Because, you look through at someone like a Dylan Mart, for instance, someone in the Currie Cup competition. He's one of the bigger guys around. And, he plays out on the wing very nicely. You look at someone like a Duan van der Merwe. He's one of the bigger wingers in the world. Is it raining extremely heavily? It was, I'm blurry now, but it was fine like 2 minutes ago. And now it's like absolutely bucketing down. It almost sounds like it's hailing, but now big run from Boland. Manages to get the offload away now, 25 metres from the line. Now Schroeder. And another penalty, this time against Kobus Elof, and it looks like he is going to be going to the bin now. He knows it too. And Lomu says wild there. And also ambush in the night roof, you smart ass on this internet stuff. And Fiji Ladies on fire. And what's yours, Ruth? And also back now, our guests arriving. Thanks for not going away and away. Glad to see Western Province in front. Says Bruce. So were they the team that you decided on in the end? Night night, Hamish and all. See you next time. See it starts race. So we will see you later on. 7 minutes remaining. Kobus Elof finds himself in the bin. So 14 on 14. What we are looking at for the end of this one. And Boland have a chance to get one of their 2 required tries to get that bonus point and help them go a little bit further forward. Stormers' first URC game is against Leinster in 20 days. That is over the line for Boland there. What we are going to do is change that to 73. There we go. That is another try. They move into the 20s. It's going to be Klassen, the man who does score it, in your opinion. Do you think I'm too big? I don't think so. It depends on what type of wing role you're trying to play. If you want to be someone like a Cheslin Colby, then you could say yes. But if you're trying to be someone like more a Kanan Moody, for instance, from just that South African team, then you should be completely fine. If anything, that little bit of extra aerial height might actually benefit you in the long run. But once again, if you are nailing your kicks, you should probably stick to the kicking side of things, as long as you do enjoy doing it. That kick is great from Boland, making the score 40 points at the moment. Well, they've got 40. I thought it was 38, but we'll change it to 40. We'll believe them. 40 points to 22. The way that this one currently sits, yes, Western Province, old habits die hard, says Bruce. Currently, Boland, they are sitting in second on the overall standings. They need one more try to get themselves that extra point, which could take them away from the Lions, and would also mean that the Cheetahs have a little bit of a harder task. But either way, if the Cheetahs beat the Bulls, they will go ahead of them anyway. Not too long ago, I used the same move that the Springboks did. You force a scrum. That's a beautiful run there from Boland. They're up to the halfway line. Now going away to the left. Couple skip passes in a row. David Britz goes to Xavier Mitchell, who drops it cold with no one challenging him. I think he's just worked out the significance of that drop. The fact that no one was around him either does make it just that little bit more brutal for that man. But a brilliant run from Sung Weni, showing a real turn of pace as he made up to the halfway line. I'm flying from Spain to Cape Town. I was expecting to see next week's semi-final at Boland Stadium effort, says Gerard. But yeah, unfortunately, in this game, Western Province decided that it would be a URC warm-up, so they're playing all their URC guys, which sadly has really hurt the Boland chances. Drop ball, says Ruth. And we have got there Like Cutting Sugar, says Lilia B. And Boland, yeah, says Ruth. Looks like Porten will make his way on. That is for JD Schickerling. Now, that is because of the yellow card of Kobus Elof. And also, I did the same move that the Springboks did on Italy, forced a scrum, and then I scored a try from it. And also, drop ball, says Ruth. Now, 4.5 minutes remaining. 3 minutes on one yellow card, that is of Boland's, and 7 minutes 40 remaining of the Western Province yellow card of Kobus Elof, which means he will not return back into this game. 4.5 to go. Boland still do have time to score the extra try, but it actually doesn't change a whole amount for them, other than the fact that it means that the Cheetahs, as well as the Lions, would both need to win rather than draw. Would be the only factor for Boland there. If they can score themselves 2 more tries and get within 7, that would be a whole different story. They're just running low on the clock. Now back across to the left-hand side. Yeah, couple skip passes in a row. Nicely shoveled on onto the outside. Leleon Zas. Now tackled down low. It's been solid defence throughout this game for Boland. Schroeder having to defend there, making the tackle alongside Thurlow Marsh. And not sure Lily B. Says Bruce there. Now off to the right-hand side again. The Western Province, they are in no hurry whatsoever here. They can just get away. Oh, they've given away a penalty though in the breakdown. What I was going to say is they can just get away with just chilling. 4 minutes remaining. They're in control of this game. It is going to be the first win for the Western Province of their Currie Cup season. And again, it just makes you wonder, what if they had all of the players available? Why is the Welsh team so Welsh? Says Gatsanel there. And I like my kicking up high and my tackles down low. And Ushman Bad Peep's got a mountain bike arm injury, says Nars Williams. Like typos. Are you saying that the typo of what you meant to put when you wrote A23222222 was supposed to be the man about the motorbike injury? As if it was, that is impressive. Not the injury, but the autocorrect skills. Going off to the right-hand side now. Oh, another short ball. Boland drop it. Picked back up by the Western Province. They're just 3 minutes away from the end. What happened to the Welsh men's international? He played NFL. He's actually back. I believe he's going to be playing in the Gallagher Premiership. To keep an eye out for, Lewis Rees-Zammit. And he'll probably be back in the Welsh side. I wouldn't give it too long before he gets that international call up again. We have got there, hey, there's nothing against it in the Lords. Says Big Rig. I feel like riding a mountain bike during a rugby game would be cheating. Says Big Rig there. Possibly. It would be against the spirit of the game. I would say, yes, I enjoyed when I start the kick. Then when I miss it, I think about it all game. Well, it is a very hard role to play in terms of the kicking. But I think it's all about just training yourself to know there will be times that you miss, and that's literally just life as a kicker. No kicker in existence has ever had 100%. Unfortunately. Not for their whole career anyway. Now, penalty. Let's go the way of the Western Province. In fact, there's probably some random kicker who got to kick once and got it over. So that might be a lie. But anyone with a decent amount of kicks probably doesn't have that 100%. Tackling around the waist and thighs could be challenging. Says Ruth, I am sure you would 100% attempt it on a majority of these players though, Ruth, if you had to. We have got there, yes, I enjoyed. But now, kicking into touch here for the Western Province with just the 1 minute left on the clock. So anyone wondering about what is next for us, we are going to be covering the game between Australia and England for the Women's World Cup. That is going to be kicking off in around 1:25. South African Brendan Biner managed 6th place today in the MotoGP sprint race. Says Bruce. Currently 28 points to 15 in that game between Fiji and Wales as well. They have just got popped up on my screen. Thrown in, taken by Western Province once more, and a new advantage against Boland. Now Vokozela. It's a couple extra meters, and that's another advantage in the favour of a Western Province. Sounded like 15 was offside. Your mustache and sense of humour is fantastic. So here's Roof, that's kicked him behind, so they will go back for the penalty. And if you're Western Province, you just tap over the 3. I want to be a wingback like Colby. Says Ethan there, and Drew Western Province got this cheer. Says Blues Nate. It looks like Yuri Matea. Is there a chance that they go for the 3 here? It looks like maybe the corner is the more likely. To be fair, they loved that rolling maul earlier on in the match, and I would not be surprised if they keep on going to it here just to give it one more chance. I was offered a contract at Craven Week, but I didn't like the contracts. I denied it. So here's Ethan. Well, hopefully another opportunity does come your way at some point. Over there, winger, Red Bull Fly. So here's Roof there. But now, another line out for Vokozela. Now 10 metres out from the try line. Vokozela. This one's actually kind of rotated a little bit, but he breaks off the back 5 metres short of the try line. And there's a little knock on, and that will be the end of the contest. 80 minutes through, 40 points to 22. And that is going to be in favour of the Western Province. Boland, they might be sitting second for now, but the question is, will they stay there at the end? So what they need to happen is they need the Lions to lose and they need the Cheetahs to lose. If both of those happen, then Boland will have the home semi-final. So it could still be on the cards for this Boland side, but it would have to take a monumental effort for those sides both to lose their games. Cheer Hamish Kiwi Lads final to the next game. Says Nars Williams. Yeah, we are currently sitting around the hour and 15 or so away from that next matchup. If you guys haven't already, be sure to leave a like and, of course, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all for the next one.